Hi guys, today we are going to make a negotiation between Russia and Ukraine. But first, we want to talk about some cultural differences that exist between those countries, because that can affect the success or not success to get an agreement. First, let me give you some facts about Russia. The big difference between the less and the more powerful people create the status symbols. Also, people has to represent behavior in the different business interactions. For Russian people, the relationships are very important when someone wants to get more.
We want that they know which are the points that want to expose both countries to see if it is achieved to reach an agreement and to be able to negotiate between the parts. In Russia, there is marked very much the difference of power that exists, and in Ukraine, a country that tries not to be isolated by Russia as in previous times, looks that so much as his people like his culture, they are a bit more independent, considering that are countries with similar cultures.
To start, it's important to say that Russia and Ukraine have very similar characteristics and behaviors that mark their culture. This explains the complexity of the conflict. To start, we want to talk about power distance. Ukraine and Russia are societies very centralized, where power holders are very distant in society, and the discrepancy between the less and the more powerful people leads the behavior and gives great importance of status. People reflect and represent status rules in all areas of business interactions. Second, when we talk about individualism, for Ukrainians and Russians, family and friends are extremely important to get along with everyday life challenges. They need to be personal, authentic, and trustful before one can focus on tasks and build on a careful to the recipient. Rather, implicit communication style. For that, relationships are crucial in obtaining information, getting introduced, or successful negotiations. Masculinity. Ukraine and Russian dominant values in society are caring for others and quality of life. It means that society is one where quality of life is the sign of success and standing out from the crowd is not admirable. The fundamental motivation for Ukrainians and Russians is linking what you do regard to its preference for status symbols.
Indulgence. Countries that score low on this dimension, like Ukraine or Russia, have a tendency to not have much interest in personal pleasure. Their obligations and responsibilities to society are first. Uncertainty avoidance. Both societies feel very much threatened by ambiguous situation and prefer to have context and background information. As long as Ukrainians and Russians interact with people considered to be strangers, they appear very formal and distant. At the same time, formality is used as a sign of respect. Long-term orientation. Based on Ukraine's and Russia's score on this dimension, it is safe to say that they are in between of both extremes. They can be long-term and short-term oriented, depending on the situation.
Russia powers distance, largest country in the world and entirely centralized. Two-thirds of all foreign investment go to Moscow. Big difference between social status. Behavior has to reflect status roles in business interactions. Russia individualism. Family, friends are extremely important to get along with everyday life's challenges. Relationships are crucial in obtaining information, getting introduced, or successful negotiation. They need to be personal, authentic, before focus on task. Russian masculinity. Russians at workplace as well as when in meeting a stranger rather understated the personal achievements, contribution or capacities. They talk modesty about themselves and live on a very modest standard lifestyle. Dominant behavior might be accepted when it comes from the boss, but not appreciated among peers.
Russia's uncertainty avoidance. Russians feel very much trapped by ambiguous situations. They have established one of the most complex bureaucracies in the world. They prefer to have context and background information to negotiate. When they interact with people, they appear very formal and distant because they think formality is a sign of respect. Russia's long term orientation. Russia is definitely a country with a pragmatic mindset. People believe that truth depends very much on situations, context, and time. They show an ability to adapt traditions easily to change conditions. Indulgence and restraint. Russians have a tendency to cynicism and pessimism. They have a perception that their actions are restrained by social norms and feel that indulging themselves is somewhat wrong.
Good afternoon. Firstly, we would like to talk about the economy point. We would like to increase our products in a fair price because we feel you're not paying us what we deserve. Our economy has to grow. Ukraine deserves better than what it's getting nowadays. We think Russia is exploiting our raw materials for their own benefit.
What we're going to pay is fair enough.
Let me finish my idea first, please. We estimate that Ukraine is one of the most important suppliers of yours, and it's your duty to lend us a hand in this matter. We have to take into account that this will improve the whole West Europe. We're grateful that you guys help us out once the USRR came down, but we're no longer yours to take advantage of us. And I repeat it again, we deserve better than this.
Take into account that you owe us money. You have to pay that debt.
Well, this matter is not about debt. It is about contracts and the low prices you are paying in our international trade operation. Since the day of the contract signing, our economy has been growing. Also, we know that oil had a decrease in the last 2 years, yet the price you are paying for it's not enough.
Okay, you want to increase your products, but you are not taking any position against the smuggling that has been happening along the border. This is a real problem we both are going through. It's not fair either that some of your products are being sold in the states near Ukraine, and people are not paying taxes nor tariffs for that.
But this is our territory and we have our own authority. We have laws against smuggling.
We're not saying you don't. What we're saying is that you're not doing anything seriously. This means that you're not taking actions about it. You can have the law, but you're not using it.
Okay, but if you're willing to make us fight that smuggling properly, you will have to give us something as an exchange. The smuggling is basically because of you. The prices you're paying for the goods, we both know it's not fair enough. That's why they're selling products at the border without paying tariffs. So if you want us to fight that smuggling, we would like to increase our products in a 10%.
So you have to take in account that we are your main oil and gas supplier, as well as some other goods are important for your economy.
But we are willing to accept a 5% as an increasing.
Then we will increase our price in a 5%, but if you leave Crimea, that's our land and you're violating an international right.
That matter is not part of this negotiation. We both sign a contract and that base belongs to us right now. So if you want to increase your prices, we may accept that in a 7%, but you better forget about Sevastopol and Crimea.
But there have been lots of death because of your presence on that region. It's our people loses, not yours. The welfare of our people is a duty of ours. We have to take care of them.
We have to work together because your presence makes it worse there.
Okay, we will take the 7% price increasing and we will take care of the smuggling. But also, we want not to have problems with people across the border.
Okay, if you take care of that, we will make sure they have no problem trespassing the border.
Sure. So we will take care of the smuggling and you will accept the 7% increase in prices and the free entrance of our people.
That's a deal then.
Yes, there's another matter we would like to discuss. There is a civil conflict in the east of Ukraine. There are some neo-Nazis and pro-Russians on this part of the country. These people are making this kind of the unrest because of Russia.
We want your help. Inside our country, people are unhappy, and that's because, as a country, we don't fully satisfy their necessities, and they're not on our side either. So, as they don't agree with our politics, they manage to create these groups that will share its beliefs and thinking. So, yeah, they're fighting the pro-Russians, and what we've been thinking is about helping them because they're part of our country. We want to change their mind. We want them to see Ukraine as a country they're proud of. That's why we would like to give them jobs and more opportunities so they don't want to leave the country and go to Russia.
But they are people, and our people as well. Your base is in our country, and we have to take care of that. That's why our military troops are there, taking care of them.
But we have to protect our people as well. Our base is in your country, and we have to take care of that. That's why our military troops are there.
That's what we want. We want you guys not to enter to Ukraine by force and send in soldiers to our land. We don't want your military presence here. It's our duty to take care of our people. We know that. That's why we don't want you to take care about that. Let us make our job.
Please, let us do our job. We'll fix it. A war is not good for anyone. Both of us will be affected if that ever happens. We just want you not to take positions militarily. We'll fix that by changing their mind, by showing them what Ukraine is capable of. Then we sure have a problem, because we need your soldiers out of our country.
Then we will resist.
We are not going to talk about it anymore. There will be no deal. We're going to keep fighting for our people.
Created using Powtoon.